Alright, MCEC Season 5, the last one. It was 6 years ago, and Season 6 is going to be starting this weekend. But we've got to go through Season 5 cars first. 24 of them. I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got. This video is brought to you by you. Thank you so much for simply being here and enjoying my content. Please do leave a comment, like the video, and consider subscribing if you haven't already for a chance to see your name here in a future video. Right, where we're going. We're trying something a little bit different for the start of this one. I don't know how successful it might end up being, but we're going for it anyway. The actual track goes down to the right there, and we do a U-turn. But we're going to do the full circuit for the first lap. So we're getting the full Olympic GP experience for one lap, and then the rest of the laps are all going to be as normal for the East Long version, which is one of the shorter versions. We'll talk a little bit about Olympic GP. But first of all... First of all, let's just get settled into this race. Again, I was standing outside of the top 30. We got 24 cars this time in Season 5. Careful. Because we had 8 rounds instead of the 10 in the previous seasons. And then we've crossed the start-finish line of Olympic GP full circuit, and we've done the full lap at least once during this race. The rest is going to be all the shorter variations as we say goodbye to this version of Olympic GP. Alright, so I'm in 23rd. I've made some places. Fugitive to start, which was our GT2 car on Atomic Tyre International, which I had an absolute nightmare in. It was my best result, but it was a horrible race. I think I flipped. I think I was in a solid third, and then I... Oh! Jesus! And then I flipped on the banking or something, and then I had to really fight to keep the third. But Season 5 was not a good season for me race-wise. I just didn't have the pace. And that's okay. It was, what, 3 years after Season 4. I really struggled to organise it and then race, and Season 5 is kind of the reason that I'm not racing in Season 6 permanently. I'm gonna put myself down as a reserve driver, take it a bit less seriously. The Picador. Gotta be careful on the first corner on this variation of Olympic GP. Picador was our GT3 car for the Ron Raceway in the Rain race on in the muscle cars. And Season 5 was intended to be the final season of the MCEC. Who knew 6 years later we'd still be playing GTA 5, and I would have been hounded enough, and there's been enough changes to make me want to do a Season 6. But it was meant to be sort of a swan song for the championship. We were all platforms were going to be on all the same tracks for the first time, with some community tracks included as well. All the same cars. It was just fortuitous that there'd been 9 different teams champions across the first 4 seasons. So the 9 teams could all come back, and everybody on every platform could be part of the same 9 teams. And then that meant we could have an overall teams championship across all the platforms. And then in the car selection and the track selection, it was kind of there was a few new cars, but you'll also see a lot of cars that we've seen in previous iterations of this race. The Vision was obviously a new one. The Picador definitely wasn't. You know, certain popular cars or popular combinations, like the SUVs on Olympic GP, for example, was an absolutely iconic race from, I think, Season 3 with the Huntley S, the FQ2 and the Patriot. So Season 5 had those 3 cars again on Olympic GP. I think the GT2 car was changed to the Patriot instead of the Habanero. But the FQ2 had previously been a GT2 car in Season 1, so it kind of worked. I actually raced this car, didn't I? I did a reserve race in GT1 on Xbox and I got a podium. I actually had one of my best races on not my main platform as a GT1 driver. This was on LSGP as well. And then I had a nightmare on LSGP in the PS4 race and GT2 the day after. And that's another example of, and I participated in the final round of the secondary championship as well in Season 5. And I just enjoyed that and the GT1 race, speaking of the FQ2, so much more than the entire championship that I'd been doing up to that point. Thanks for that. And I think that's what led into my decision to not do a full championship for Season 6, because I don't like myself when I'm getting stressed about my performance and not performing as well as I think I should be and all this kind of stuff. I don't like it, and I enjoyed the reserve drive race and the secondary championship race so much more when I was just enjoying myself and there wasn't as much pressure on it. The FQ2 was on Olympic GP. Famously, Sherritt went over the ramp with his horn blaring as I was in the lead of the race at that point. And I just couldn't help myself from absolutely dying with laughter because it was one of the funniest things that's ever happened in MCEC. Yeah, I believe I'll probably get plenty of main champion. I'm going to do the secondary championship for Season 6, and I think I'll still get some main championship races in. But only as a reserve driver, so there's less pressure for a full championship season and all that kind of stuff, which I think I'm going to enjoy a lot more, and I can focus more on the production of it and telling the story and live streaming the coverage and all that kind of stuff, and organising it, which takes a lot out of me in the first place. Yeah, the Italy GTO. The GT2 car for the final round, which was one of the very few actual multi-class races we've done, where we had the Emirates as GT1 from the Supers, and then we used the multi-class glitch to get the Italy GTO and the Comet Retro Custom as GT2 and GT3. It wasn't my best choice, the Italy GTO. There's always some spicy car picks for MCEC, but this wasn't my best choice. It drives a lot nicer on Project Homecoming than it does in vanilla GTA. At least it was on the North Loop, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been. That was my theory at the time, anyway. The Patriot. I just need the Huntley. That'd be funny if I got the Huntley quite early as well. And I got the 3 cars that were actually used on Olympic GP first for the final random race. in Season 5 cars on Olympic GP. This was obviously the GT3 car for round 2. Classic GT3. And yeah, this will be probably the last race we ever do on this iteration of Olympic GP. It's quite old now. It's looking very long in the tooth. A new one is being worked on and will be ready for the new season of MCEC, and then we'll probably usually, we'll do all the usual random races on the shorter variations, but the updated track and stuff like that. Just like we've done with the other recreations of my circuits, LSGP, Blaine County, Ron, North Loop. But Olympic GP is the last one to get done. I've always really liked Olympic GP. It's never most people's favourites, and it never really stands out. I was saying this before the race, that like you've got Blaine County 24 Hours and North Loop are often people's favourites, and then LSGP was the first one, so it's like iconic from being from basically early 2014. And then Ron Raceway has a very love-hate relationship with a lot of people. And then Olympic GP kind of just, it's the forgotten middle child. Evidenced by the fact, oh, there it is, the Huntley. Yes, I have actually completed the SUVs. It's only taken 7 laps to get all, well, 6 random laps really, to get all 3 SUVs on the track where they appeared. It's unreal, isn't it, how this randomness works sometimes, and the coincidences. Completed the set. But yeah, evidenced by the fact that it's the last one to get any update and recreation to modern creation standards and stuff. It's the final one, so it would probably equally as complicated as LSGP, to be fair, being a city circuit. So we sort of started. I should respawn. I wasn't quick enough. That was great. Yeah, we started with one of the more difficult ones with LSGP and finishing with one of the more difficult ones, I suppose. But it'll be ready for MCEC, and then we'll get to enjoy an up-to-date version of this track. So this will probably be the last race I ever do. Obviously, we haven't done Olympic GP for races that often because the track is so outdated. In modern times, anyway, we haven't done much. We'll be able to right that wrong once the new version's out. I've been involved in 2 crashes so far in this race, neither of which were my fault, and they've both cost me quite a lot of time. It's quite unfortunate. Probably cost me a relatively decent result, maybe, by the end of this race, but we'll have to see the time differences and stuff. Alright, the Bullet. GT3 car, round 9 on LSGP. Season 5 was... I really enjoyed Season 5 from the sort of organisation perspective. The Season 5 videos were the best, like coverage-wise. The live streams were really good. The coverage on the videos were really good. Certainly, like I said in the Season 1 video, if you want to catch up with MCEC, I think the best way to do it is to watch Season 5 first, if you haven't seen anything from the Multi-Class Endurance Championship. Watch Season 5 first, and that's going to be the closest to Season 6, and the production quality of the videos was the highest and all that kind of stuff. So from all that perspective, and the organisation and the format, I think it was all the best it could be. It was just my performance and my racing that brought it down for me personally. I think if I hadn't raced a full season myself, I think I would have had a much happier time with Season 5. There wasn't as much PTSD as Season 4, because I just kind of quickly realised that I wasn't on the pace anymore, for GT2 at least. Like that one podium in the Fugitive was my best result of it was the only podium I got. No wins or anything like that. Whereas season 4, I felt like I should have had many wins and I didn't get them because I was being stupid and making mistakes. It was just when you're doing a championship and you don't feel like you're on the pace, I get a little like, I don't know. I don't like it. I can't understand why, and you know, get all up in my own head and disappointed in myself. But yeah, we got the Emirates, the GT1 car from round 10. Again, the multi-class. I think the terminology of the final race class was race cars. Yeah, because obviously it was a multi-class race, an actual multi-class race. I have to finish with a quick one. This was the quickest car at the time. All those years ago, Schlagen GT. GT2 car for round 3 on granite in the rain. Great car, the Schlagen GT. We were 4th in this. Yeah, I think I had one of my better races in this. And I enjoyed the car and track combination and stuff, which always helps. Jesus. But I just didn't have the ultimate pace. And I didn't have enough time to be able to practice to get to that pace, and then I wasn't happy about it. It was completely expected, but I wasn't happy about it. That just brought my mood down for everything else. Pace was a dominator. Once again, we had the regular dominator for the first 3 seasons, and then the Piss was a dominator for the next 2. But a caveat of the vehicle selections for season 6 is that no car will be in season 6 that has appeared in a previous season. So the Piss was a dominator or the regular dominator will not be in season 6 muscle car round. A different type of dominator might be, to keep that streak alive. But we don't know yet. Well, I know, but no one else is going to know until a couple of days or a day before the race. I always feel like I had good pace on Olympic GP. Even when we've done stream races around Olympic GP, I've always been pretty good around here relative to like my pace on some other of my tracks. So I'm a little disappointed that I've been involved in so much time loss, because I think I've been driving not too badly. I'll have to just see what the final result ends up being. That does include HSW versions, yes. So the HSW Turismo Classic won't be seen because we've already had the Turismo Classic. I'm keeping it very strict like that. Comet Retro Custom GT3 car for the final round. That's the final round complete already as well, isn't it? The Emirates, the Italia GTO, and the Comet Retro Custom. But yeah, I wanted to put that rule in about the cars being all new because, I mean, that's the whole point of Season 6 in the first place. It wasn't going to happen for so long, and I always said the only way I'd be bringing it back is if there's enough changes made, higher player counts or more props in tracks for better circuits and more cars. Well, we've had 2 out of those 3. The tracks are a lot better, more prop heavy, more prop usage is available, and we've had a lot more DLC cars in the intervening 6 years. So better to utilize all that new stuff rather than rehash old stuff, which is more what Season 5 was about, because it was the swan song for the championship. Adder. GT. Crazy that the Adder is a GT3 car, but like that's the pace. That's the supercar pace. For round 1 on Blaine County 24 hours. It was a good selection then, I think. Krieger, Tempesta and Adder. We had 2 supercar rounds in Season 5. Super's all-wheel drive and Super's rear-wheel drive. And then the Emirates is also a supercar that featured in the final round, but this was the Super's all-wheel drive round. Have we actually had a season where we didn't repeat a class? Apart from Season 1, obviously, where there was only 7 rounds. Season 2 we had Sports, Sports A and Sports B, I think. We've had 2 supercar rounds in Season 5. We had a bunch of repeated stuff in Season 4 with all the race car variants of the classes. It's Season 3 that I question. Season 3 we might have had a different class in every round. And that's why we had vans for one of them, for example. Turismo Classic. This was rehashing the Season 4 race. We had exactly the same cars on exactly the same track. Yeah, Season 3 has no duplicates, okay. Well, Season 6 is going to be like that. No duplicate classes. Even across the secondary championship as well. 12 races, 12 different classes. What those are, you'll have to wait and see, because they're not getting published in advance. I'm not bad around Olympic GP, you know. Still remember the Slow Sports Showdown. An iconic race. That was the race that Summit 1G watched that got him hooked on GTA racing. Phoenix, the race that we used to start the season 4 random race. Phoenix and the Fugitive have appeared in both of those races. Like I said, there were going to be a lot of duplicates from Season 4 cars and Season 5. And just cars in general. In fact, there's not that many, now that I think about it, there's not that many new cars in Season 5. Like we had the Vision. I think the Adder was the first time we'd had the Adder in a MCEC race. Probably the Tempesta for GT2 round 1 as well was a new one. But I think most of the cars for Season 5 had been featured in a MCEC season before. From Seasons 1 to 4. It's crazy that this was 6 years ago, man. 2020, February 2020, we started Season 5. February 2026, we'll be starting Season 6. This weekend, as you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be live streamed to your Twitch and YouTube. Join us for the full coverage. There'll be no dedicated videos, but the live streams will have timestamps for all the races, and I'm going to put a lot into the live coverage, production quality and stuff. But the Phoenix was on Ron Raceway, by the way, for round 8. Didn't have a very good race there. Then we got the Acia. That was sedans in round 5. Again, redoing the sedans round, I think. Shafter V12, Fugitive and Acia. On Atomic Tire International. This is probably, just like it was in the Season 4 race, the slowest car out of all of them. And I'm, just like the Season 4 race, I guess, in a fight for a top 10. If I can. That might seem a little bit much. But that's what I'm going to try to push for. You were second in this car. Oh yeah, I did a reserve drive in PC GT3, didn't I? That second place did not improve my mood though, because I was leading a lot of that race and I got overtaken right at the end. Again, I just didn't have the pace. Like, I wasn't deserving of winning any race in that season. The last good MCEC race I had was that gauntlet, Redwood Gauntlet on Ron Raceway, where I was dominant. And then after that, I don't think I've ever had the pace in a multi-class endurance championship race anymore. Alright, Krieger. Time to push on the GT1 car for the Supers all-wheel drive round. Round 1. So that's that one completed, I think. No, I haven't had the Tempest, have I? Krieger and the Emirates were the two top dogs. We started the season in the Krieger for GT1 and ended it in the Emirates. I was expecting him to go back on the racing line there. He did the right thing, to be fair, by not, but I was anticipating him doing that. Alright, that's brought me back into the top 10 fight, I think. I've got the Acia out of the way. Stinger was GT3 for the Sports Classic round, just like it was in Season 4. Slowed up by the Patriot. That'll do though. Alright, there's 11th. I'm 7 seconds back and the gap is increasing, 8 seconds to 10th. We're 3/4 of the way through the race at the end of this lap. So 6 cars to go. Could all still change if people still have the AC to get up at the front. It all comes together at the end. From one Sports Classic to another. From GT3 to GT2. Z-Type. That completes that set as well. This was the race that I didn't finish. I kept going after like being away for like an hour or whatever. This was the race where Xerxes cut her finger about 20 minutes into the race and screamed because it was... she cut it quite badly. Chopping into an avocado, I think. So I dropped everything and ran down and then spent the next hour sorting it all out. Just left the stream. Left the race on. I was just by the side of the road. And then I came back and actually finished the race. I think I drove the last like 10-15 minutes or something. But yeah, I was obviously classified absolute stone dead last. Not that I was having a great race, but... these things happen. I remember having to copy-paste information in chat for the whole race to explain. Yeah. Where's Bruffy at? Pariah. Okay. This was our GT1 car in the Granite Rain round, wasn't it? Round 3. Still got the GT3 car to go for that one. I mean, this was obviously a new addition to MCEC, and how could we not have the Pariah in the fastest top speed car in the game at that point? Just challenging to drive. It was a perfect GT1 car, really. This top 10 is not looking likely at the moment. '11th is just in front of me, but top 10 are quite far ahead. GP1, GT2 car for LSGP round 9. I remember this one. I remember having an absolute nightmare is what I remember. Another LSGP round 9 capitulation. Wait, was it round 7? No, it was round 9. You can't tell me when my LSGP capitulations were. Those are etched into my brain. Always the second last round. Oh, wait. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, there was only 8 rounds. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. Round 7 because it was 7 of 8. Not round 9 of 10 like it was in Season 4. Yeah, okay, fine. So you can tell me when my LSGP capitulations are then. Alright, Tempesta. Maybe this top 10 is back on. Oh, this is the fight for 10th. Asia and Huntley versus Tempesta. Oh, I've turned him. Really? God damn it. To be fair, he moved in a way that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, I should have anticipated the front to back lag that we have now. I think I can still get this top 10 despite having to wait. Tempesta is that much quicker than the Huntley. But I've been involved in 2 big time losses that weren't my fault, 1 small time loss that was my fault. I mean, altogether that's going to be the difference. Wow! Okay. The capitulation has begun. Alright, Banshee GT3 for the sports round. Classic MCEC downfall. Yeah. Usually doesn't happen on Olympic GP though. Usually takes longer into the season. Olympic GP is always the second race of the season. Usually takes longer than that. I'm still in with the shout of a top 10, but I think I would have been nailed on top 10 if I hadn't have had any of the issues I've had in this race. The respawn has cost me the most time, to be fair. Maybe my overall time loss, maybe estimated like 12 to 15 seconds with the respawn and then the waits and the having to get back on track after being crashed. Where would that have put me at the minute? In the top 10 comfortably, but not much further than that. Alright, Shafter V12 on the last lap versus the Picador. Ooh, I might get this top 10, you know. FQ2 behind. Shafter V12's got to be quick. I had my Picador early. I'm going to be quicker than the FQ2 as well. Although, is the Shafter V12 going to be quicker enough? Has to be, right? GT1 car for the sedans round to finish off. We finished the Shafter in season 1 as well, the season 1 race. Poetic. You just never know what people have still got to go and how their races have been going and what cars they've had and what cars they've got left. It all evens out at the end with the cars. And for season 4 and season 5, 2 races in a row, I've managed to just scrape into that top 10. Okay, fair enough. Despite all that time loss and all those takeouts and then the takeouts that I did. Wow. From 4th to 9th, there was only 5 seconds. That's the fight that I would have been in, I think. If I'd had a clean race, I would have been in that fight for a top 5. But I had way too much time loss from my own incidents and incidents from other people hitting me. There's only 2 seconds between 2nd and 3rd as well. Karen actually dominated both races. That's where I would have been, I think. I would have been right in that fight. So it's a shame I wasn't there, but at least I managed to get the top 10. Again, from starting quite far back. So, with crashes, not so bad. And Season 6, it will be starting this weekend, Sunday. The live coverage, remember. your MCEC enamel pins. They're available on store.bruffy.com. Brand new for MCEC Season 6. You can get your bundle as well, $13.22. That's what it'll cost you for all three of them. The G-Fred pin, the Bruffy Love pin, the MCEC pin, all together for a cheaper price than getting them separately, if you've been holding off on getting any of them. But that's it. We've done all the cars from all the seasons of the MCEC up to now. And now it's time for the real thing. Season 6 starts on Sunday, live on both platforms. Hope to see you there.